Welcome aboard. It's Saturday. It's a special Saturday. Hey, sorry we missed you yesterday. Me and Patrick and Sam were enjoying our last full day of vacation on the Causeway in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, catching tonight's Tony Makes Lunch, which is now Tony Makes Dinner, which hashtag Tony Makes Crabs, because we've got a sink full of these guys. Oh, they'll come out. Blue crabs caught just yesterday afternoon, right off the Causeway in Old Saybrook. Beautiful, yummy blue crabs. And if you've never made crabs, it's going to be a lesson and a half. So we're going to do them two ways tonight, because Jennifer, having spent time down in D.C. and Maryland, likes them with Old Bay, and me, having spent many days in New Orleans, likes them in Zatarain's crab boil. So we're going to do boiled crabs, we're going to do steamed crabs, we're going to do crab cakes. It's Crab Fest. And we're going to do it real quick because we're supposed to be going out tonight. So, stick with me. Going to load up a couple of these. I cooked some earlier. They're still feisty. And you want them that way.
Come over to the sink and say hi.
Yeah, come around the sink. You don't want to ever cook dead shellfish. 3, 4. Whoop, he got it. I'm jumping out of the bowl.
Why don't we do a few at a time then?
All right, so these guys are going over here. In this bowl, or in this bucket in the back, big pot, right? I've got this. I'll put it up. I'll bring it up so you can see it. That's Zatarain shrimp and crab boil, straight from New Orleans, right? So this is a couple quarts of water, some Zatarain's, a lemon, an onion, a head of garlic. I'm going to put the rest of that in there. A little bit of salt. And these guys go straight in. Now, if you were doing a real crab boil, you would put some potatoes in there and maybe some corn in there.
Ooh, I can smell it.
Right? You put a whole bunch of stuff. So that was 3. That's 3 more. There's 6.
Okay.
6 in that one. Leave us like 7 for the other one. Right? And that just comes back to a boil, and then we shut it off. And it sits for as long as you want. Half an hour, 45 minutes. The longer it sits, the more flavor seeps into the crab, right? So
What else is in that pot? There's like lemons.
So I threw a lemon in there, a whole onion, and a head of garlic that I cut in half. Like I said, if you're doing a real New Orleans crab boil, you'd throw in artichokes and corn on the cob, potatoes, sausage, you name it, like shrimp, everything comes out of the big pot and you dump it on the middle of the table and you eat it. Now in this one, so this is beer. Oh, there's also a little apple cider vinegar in there too. In this pot, don't shoot the pot because it's ugly. Because I already boiled some. It's just beer, this is a great way to get rid of the leftover beers in the fridge downstairs towards the end of summer. The odds and ends that nobody drinks. So it's beer and apple cider vinegar. And then we're going to take, man, these guys are just...
they're definitely...
You know why? Because they warmed up. They haven't been on ice for a little while. Right? And then these guys go, once they hit the hot, they'll calm down.
Yeah, that's all we did.
Alright. So this is already boiling. So these go in a single layer.
So we're steaming these guys instead of boiling them.
We're steaming these instead of boiling. So in the bottom of this pot is I raised up, I took a tinfoil baking sheet, kind of crimp the edges a little bit. And then this is Old Bay.
Yep.
And you sprinkle the tops with Old Bay generously.
Poor dudes.
And then you put another layer on top of that. Hold on, I need my crab tongs. So these guys are. This guy lost all his claws. He's like, no, I'm happy. I don't have any defense mechanism. So you put another layer on top. And you can keep layering these and layering these and layering these all the way to the top of the pot, but we don't need to. Alright, so we do a little more generous. Oh, the more Old Bay, the better. Now the top goes on this one and it stays boiling. This one in the back, I shut off and just let it sit. So these, the steam guys go for about 15, 20 minutes. These can go for about a half an hour. So after 15 minutes, half an hour respectively, all of a sudden, boom, you've got crabs. Right? So this is the Old Bay guy. And this is the steam guy. And you could just go to town, right? There are more back on the back counter. We could just like lay them out and start eating. The nice thing about the Old Bay is actually it gets on your fingers. So as you're picking through the crab, you get the seasoning off your fingers. But if you've never picked out a crab, let's show you how to do that next. So you're sitting there at a restaurant, and you've just ordered a bucket of crabs, and now you have these guys looking at you. What do? Well, all right, a little family history lesson first. About a year ago, my brilliant mother-in-law, Ann Burke, at I think Christmas time, said, Tony, I found this in my mom's old things. I want you to have them. And I was like, what? She goes, I have no idea what they are. They're pearl-handled crab knives that have probably never been used before.
Probably not.
But they're gorgeous, and I'm going to show you how to use them. So we're going to actually put them to use, which is kind of like life comes full circle, because the first time I met your grandmother, Jennifer, was on vacation at Water's Edge, and I won her heart by bringing her a bucket full of lobster, and now we have a bucket full of crabs. So I'm going to do this guy, right? You take the claws off. Save the claws for later. Take the little legs off. These are delicious, by the way. Don't throw them away. You can suck the meat and the juice out of them. Then you got the big swimmer fins in the back. We can leave those on for a second. Now, you could do like the mallet method where you and it goes all over the place. We're going to be a little bit more refined than that. So you take...
I appreciate that.
Just take the top shell, pops right off. Boop. And it goes away.
Okay.
And then you take a little crab knife, you go cut off the front. That's nothing you want to eat. And then just like when we did soft shell crabs, those are little gills on the side. You take those off, scrape them right down. These crab knives are like genius. Comes right off. And then you can just crack it. Oh, nope, forgot. You take the bottom carapace off. That was a boy. Boop.
Okay.
Right, and now this whole thing is full of meat, but it's hard to get to. So you just crack it in half, like that. And you can start to see the meat reveal itself. Right, so you take our little picky guy, and that right there is the lump that comes out of it. So this is the big swimmer fin, right? It's the like, besides the claw, it's probably the biggest and most powerful muscle in the crab's body. Which means it's the biggest chunk.
To get off?
No, it's the biggest chunk of meat. It's actually easy to get off because it all falls out in one big chunk if you do it right. Let me see if I can do it right. Boom. Lump.
Nice.
A lump of crab meat. And then you just work your way down the body with the little pick.
So if you don't have a crab knife.
If you don't have a crab knife, you can do this by hand. If you have a crab knife, then you can go down this way, whoops, right, and take off kind of, so the body is kind of held together. They're like these little cells that are held together by cartilage that runs vertically, which makes it really hard. You can pick everything out. Once you start to get in there, you can see that you just go through with the little picker, or you can take the knife and get into the cells and just pry out all the meat, and you put it right into the thing, right?
Into the bowl.
Into the bowl, and then you do the other one. Now, the beautiful thing about the crab knife that I discovered today, because truth be told, I've never used one, is when you get to the claws, which are always the hardest part on crabs, and people will crack them, and then you get little bits of shell all in the claw. But with a crab knife, check this thing out. You just go right down the claw like this. You crack it in half, and out comes all the claw meat. You just take it off with your finger, and you just split it and make sure there's a little piece of cartilage in the middle that you want to be careful about, because you don't want to eat that. That's nothing. It's like, you know, dental floss. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Take your little picker, you go right in, boop. You take out a big hunk of claw meat, and you take that piece of claw off, and you do the same thing down the arm, which again is like usually like there's always good meat in there, but it's such a pain to get to when you're working on these without the proper tools. But now we just go.
And I bet when more people watch this, I have tons of Maryland friends that'll watch it and say,
"You're
"Give us
doing it
more
wrong."
tips."
Probably they'll think I'm hacking away at the body, but bodies are hard. Anyway, so look, you keep picking away, and then you get a big bowl of crab meat, and you go, "Oh, we got a big bowl of crab meat," or you eat them and you suck all the meat out of the little bodies and go to town. But we can make crab cakes because we love crab cakes. So this is just
my favorite.
2 pieces of gluten-free bread with the crust cut off. Put through the food processor, right? Add an egg, 1 egg. Okay. A little teeny bit of Dijon mustard. I know the classic crab cake recipe is yellow mustard. Dijon. Mayo. Give like 1/3 of a cup, so that's probably about right. Splash of Worcestershire sauce. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those.
Okay.
A little bit of Old Bay.
Just mix it all.
Mix it all together. Mix this together first before you put the crab meat in. You don't want the crab meat. If you can keep the chunks in the crab meat, that would be a good thing. So that's your base. So like more crab meat than base.
Right.
This is just gonna
It's
hold.
just like the glue.
It's the glue. It's all you want. You put in all that beautiful crab meat that
Delicious glue.
I've picked through before, so there shouldn't be too many little bits of shell. There'll probably be a couple because you can never get them all. And now you know why crab meat is so expensive, because it takes a lot of work to get all this crab meat out, as Jen can attest, because she was upstairs saying, "Hey, when are you going to do the show?" And I was like, "I need a few more minutes." Right? So there we go. Let's check these guys out. Now I got a pan going. Oh, they look too hot. Here, you can peek. They're turning red.
Yeah.
Aren't they beautiful? Right?
They're out of their misery.
Out of their misery. They were out of their misery pretty quickly. And then right over on this little burner,
They aren't really even miserable because they don't feel much,
they
right?
don't. That was a little too hot. A little butter and a little splash of olive oil so it doesn't burn too much. Right. Then we take a spoonful of the crab cake right over. We'll make it into a patty right in the hot butter. Let that cook.
So do we put it in the oven too, or we just do it on the stove?
No, just on stove.
Okay.
Crisp on both sides. So here, I can do another, while that's cooking,
Mm-hmm.
let me go, I'll, if you haven't seen it, I'll attack the other side of this carapace. Alright, so take my little crab knife. Let's see if I can get the cleaner, and then I can show you the inside. So on the inside, hold on, are all these little cells of meat. Where every leg attaches is a muscle.
And you gotta slow it down so I can actually see.
I know. So if I can get in here, maybe with the knife. Right, so that's the back one. That's a muscle. So if I get the knife in there, underneath all the cartilage,
That's all the meat. There
and
you
I
go.
can pull out all the meat, like that. Then you move down the row to the next one. They get smaller as you go, so they get a little harder to get the meat out. But that's how you do it. You just keep working your way down. Crabs are great. They're slow food, which I need because I always eat too fast. So I could sit for 2 hours and probably get through maybe 8 because it takes so long to get all the meat out. And you sit and you talk and you have a beer and you enjoy, and it's great. And, you find a spatula. I forgot to do something.
Where are we
Don't
going?
forget our messy drawers. All right, then we take this crab cake here. It's probably a little. Turn up the heat a little bit. A little early to flip it, but that's okay. We need the butter back. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. Golden brown on that side. We're gonna finish cooking this, and we're gonna try it, Jennifer. And then we're gonna let everybody go, and then we're gonna go out because we're supposed to be out. I'm gonna actually turn those off. We're just gonna let those sit in the steam bath.
Okay. So how many minutes on each side do you think for that?
4, 3, 4. Not too long. Dogs are barking. What? You gave me a look.
Yes, because we have holes in your t-shirt.
Yes, I have holes in my t-shirt. I'm wearing an especially ratty t-shirt to deal with crabs today. We were running around the garage earlier and then crawling out of the sink. Okay, and then check these guys out, right? So they're just sitting in the water like that.
You turned them off.
I
They're
turned
not
them off.
boiling
They
anymore.
just soak.
Okay.
They're just soaking up all the crabby goodness. And then you can let them cool. Like I said, you can just wrap them up, throw them in the fridge. I could pick them tomorrow, or get all the meat out, put the meat in a bowl, in the plastic bags, freeze it. It'll freeze well. You could save the legs and throw them in spaghetti sauce because crabs and spaghetti is one of the greatest inventions ever. Make crab cakes, or like I said, just everybody sit down, grab a bowl of crabs, grab your crab knife, pick.
Are they freezable?
Yes, so if you want to freeze them, when you have them fresh, you just clean them. So basically the same process I did, but you have to do it when they're alive. So if you're squeamish, watch out. So you basically take the top shell, here, I'll do it for this guy. You would take the top shell off
While they're alive?
while they're alive. You can't eat, like any shellfish, you don't want to eat a dead crab.
Right.
So you got to do it while they're alive, and there's really no way to stun them without killing them. So they really don't have brains. So you would take the top shell
You
off.
couldn't have done that with the guys that you were just messing with.
Yes, I could have. That's how you have to do it when you're. What you do? Okay, so if you have to clean a live crab, here's what you do: get yourself a 5-gallon bucket, right? They've got 2 claws. This one only has 1. You get them to pinch the edge of the 5-gallon bucket. Pretend this is a 5-gallon bucket. They'll pinch the edge of that. If you put your hand like this, the other claw's here, and hold the claw down, they'll never bite you. And then you just take your thumb and you pop the shell off.
Okay.
Right? And then they've expired. Right? So if I was going to freeze them, I would take the top shell off. I would take all the mustard and stuff out from the inside, pop the bottom shell. Right? And then just rinse them under cool water, get all this stuff out. Make sure you take the gills off. The gills are those little fuzzy things right here. And then that, if this was raw, could go in a Ziploc bag in the freezer. It'll freeze for a couple of months. And then just pop them out, steam them, do whatever. After I froze them, I would probably only use them in sauce or something.
Okay.
They're not gonna be as yummy as fresh. But this is a little piece of lump for you with Old Bay on it. Tell me how that tastes.
Pretty good.
Our crab cake is done. So we're gonna try this. Here's our crab cake. Like,
I love crab
can't
cakes.
get any fresher than that,
No, huh?
right?
And my boys actually
And your
caught the crabs.
they did. You know what? I had a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old get along for 6 hours yesterday. Not argue, hardly ever. Hardly at all. Here,
They loved it. It was fun.
I'm gonna give you the first bite. Tell me how that is.
Okay. Ooh.
Try not to drop it.
Well, I'm trying to hold the camera and
I know.
get the fork at
There
the
you
same time. Okay.
You'll have the second bite.
Woo!
It's hot. It just came out.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
No. We're gonna go eat more crab. You go make lunch yourself someday. This is really dinner. But, you know, get in touch. We'll go crabbing. And we'll have a crab party.
We know the spot now, right?
We do. Bye.
All right, bye, everybody.